Hi, everyone. I'm Susie Lula, and today we're starting Mama Mondays. So I'm so happy to have you all with us. And today our theme is going to be the Spiritual Olympics, how to get up when we stumble. So I welcome you, anyone who is on your way. My name is Susie Lula. I've been a spiritual therapist, counselor for about 15, 18 years now. I work with individuals all day long, every day. Hi, Carol, welcome. Hi, Arthi, welcome. So happy to have you all. Everyone is coming and getting settled. Part of self-care really is setting an inner tone in our heart. And so I thought that today, as everyone is coming and getting settled, I'd play a little piano music to just help you set a tone. Oh, good morning, mindful mamas. I love that, Arthi. So if you want to light a candle, maybe light an incense, have a cup of tea. Hi, Joseph. So nice to have you. So nice to have you all. So I'm just going to play a little music as we just gently become connected to our own heart. Hi, Goldie. So we're just going to take a moment as people are joining. We're welcoming everyone that is coming on. And in the meantime, let's just take a few moments, relax, know where else we need to be. There's nothing more important than connecting to our own heart. Nothing more important. Hi, Adrienne. So just relax, have some tea, and I'm going to just play for a little minute here. So hello again. For me, there's just nothing like music to relax us, to move from our head to our heart. And this is our invitation today, is to move from our head to our heart. When we're connected within our heart, we are going to be connected to those we care for, especially our children. It's impossible to be disconnected inside of ourselves and connected to another. It's impossible to be disconnected within ourselves and to form the connections that we're seeking to make with our children, our partners, our families, our businesses, our finance. And so this is why I am passionate about this movement of self-care, that we all join together in recognition that self-care is not only not selfish, but it is the most essential tool that we can practice to ensure that we stay inwardly connected. And when we are inwardly connected, that ensures that we are connected to our children. It is impossible to be inwardly connected and outwardly disconnected from our children. It is impossible. When we are connected inwardly, we are connected outwardly with our children. So I'm so grateful to have all of you here. Again, welcome. My name is Susie Lula. I've been a spiritual counselor, therapist for about 18 years now, working hour after hour, day in, day out with individuals on their own individual path of transformation and evolution. And now with my book coming out called The Motherhood Evolution, How Thriving Mothers Raise Thriving Children, I'm seeking to take what I've learned through working with individuals all day about our yearning and our longing and our need to nourish our spirits. And I'm on a mission now to change the face of motherhood from one of exhaustion and overwhelm to one of connection and value and worth. So I welcome you today. Our theme today is the Spiritual Olympics. I think that caring for others is the, Olympic sport. I know that caring for my son in the way that I seek to care for him, caring for my son in the way that he needs me to care for him is my Olympic sport. And what I know is that the more inwardly connected I am to my spirit, then the more able I am to be present for him in the way that he needs me to be. And so I know that if it's true for me, it is true for all of us. So I welcome you. Hi, Goldie. Hi, Carol. Hi, Angie. Jessica. Venus, I was thinking of you when I was playing the piano. So it's so lovely, all of the emails and different messages you all have sent me about how you're loving the music, because obviously I love playing and I love sharing it. So I thank you because now you're a part of me and we're connected in that way. So when I play, I think of all of you and I hold for all of you in my own heart. So the other part of today with the Spiritual Olympics that is so important is about getting back up when we stumble. So every Olympic athlete is going to stumble. We all know that. And we are going to stumble sometimes moment by moment in our relationship with our children. I know that sometimes it can feel like I'm doing more stumbling than I am connecting. And so what I've learned is that it's actually easy to connect with our children when we're connected inside. However, what is it when we're stumbling, when we're fumbling, when we're tripping over our own 2 feet that allows us to get back into gracious and graceful connection, both inside of ourselves and with our children? I don't know about you all, but I'm loving watching the Olympics. It's so inspiring to me to see the dedication and the commitment that these athletes have to their own practice, their own passion. And so we're passionate about raising our children. We're passionate about connecting to our children. We're passionate about connecting to those around us. And what I've learned is that it's a mental game, these Olympics. The athletes show up and they are in prime physical form, and that is a given. But what really sets an Olympian apart from the others who are competing is really that ability mentally to get back up when life hands them something in the middle of a race or when they stumble or fumble. So I've really become very interested in how we are with ourselves when we stumble, when we fumble, to allow ourselves to end up, getting that gold medal of parenting. And again, I want to say that this is not about becoming the perfect parent, the perfect practice. This couldn't be farther from perfection. This, in fact, is about learning to embrace our stumbles, learning to embrace our foibles and our fumbles, that we may rise up in a gracious way, in a graceful way, so that when we stumble with our children, we're able to simply take ownership of that and reconnect with them in a graceful way. So, hi again, everyone. I'm Susie Lula, so grateful to have you. Angie's saying she feels the connection. I feel the connection as well, and one of the things I love about technology is that even though we're all on different continents, even because we have Brazil represented here right now, I'm tearing up here. We have London represented here. We have Chicago represented here. We have New York connected here, Texas. We have people from all over the globe. I know individuals from Australia. It's their night right now, but I know they will be joining us. So literally, we have individuals from all over this planet. And through this piece of technology, you can literally feel the connection. And this is why I'm so passionate about self-care, because our energy surpasses any distance between us. So I can be here in Los Angeles and someone can be in Australia, and it isn't the distance between us, it's the energy between us. When I am connected, when I am overflowing, then we feel that connection. So I have this vision, this mission, imagining, envisioning mothers in Chicago, individuals in South Africa, in London, in Australia, in Brazil, each one of us thriving, overflowing, but mostly inwardly connected. When I am inwardly connected, I exude that open heart, and then you all feel it. When we feel this open heart, our children feel it. It is undeniable, it is palpable, it is real, and it transcends even the location distance between us. Kirsty is saying Florida represented. So individuals, regardless of the distance between us, we are united, we are one. Our open heart unites us. So this is our practice. This is why I'm so passionate about the practice of self-care. And today we're talking specifically about the Olympics. So the interesting thing for me about the Olympics is that it's both an individual sport and a team sport. So take gymnastics or track and field, ice skating. Whatever the individual sport is, they're also part of something larger, the country. So an individual is only as great as the connection that they're making with their team members. I think about this with our families. I am only as great, as successful, as connected as the connection that I make with my child, because this is what my child is seeking, connection from me. So the more that I'm in spiritual shape, so to speak, the more that I'm in that spiritual shape, the more I'm ensuring that I'm going to provide for my child what it is that they're needing from me. And when an Olympic athlete practices, one of the qualities that is essential to their practice is that it becomes non-negotiable. So I want to speak to that quality of non-negotiable today. Now, again, we want to be careful that we're not hearing this through the filter of perfectionism. So we're not saying that what we're talking about is moving underneath a quality of perfectionism, where we will find our own intuition and the quality of discernment. Discernment is one of the most potent spiritual qualities there is, because discernment allows me to tell in this moment whether I'm meant to go meditate or go back to sleep. So when I talk about this quality of non-negotiable, every day an Olympic athlete doesn't necessarily feel like going to practice. So there may be days that a gymnast doesn't feel like going to the gym. When we are committed to something, when we are dedicated to something, which I know all of us are, our dedication, our commitment is to be the most beneficial caregiver possible. This is our united commitment, our united dedication. We are here to be the highest, the most beneficial presence in our children's lives. And so to do that, we must become equally as committed and dedicated to our own inner spiritual practice. So I call sometimes self-care, I call it inner care. Self-care, inner care. Although sometimes we are talking about our body temple, our physical body, we're speaking of the inner qualities that would have us motivated and create the self-discipline to connect to our practice. So our practice around the spiritual Olympics, at the heart of our practice is the art and the practice of meditation. That is the heart of our spiritual practice. That is the heart of self-care. And then we have other practices such as caring for our emotional triggers, our emotional unresolved issues. That is emotional self-care, so that we learn how to be present, embrace our own emotional eruptions. Then there is the physical body. There is caring for our physical body through exercise or yoga or eating well, nutrition, enough sleep, enough water, vitamins, supplements, whatever it is in our physical world. And our physical body includes our body of affairs. So that includes our life with our children, our home, our finances, our car, whatever is in our physical world. So we're speaking of nourishing our life, nourishing our spirits on every level of our consciousness, and this becoming non-negotiable. So for instance, perhaps someone, I'll speak for myself, I didn't get a very good night's sleep last night because my dog was up coughing all night. Not certain exactly what's going on with our dog, so if we could all send some good light to my dog. His name's Goody because he's such a good dog. He was up all night, and when 5 o'clock came this morning, I did not feel like getting up to meditate. And yet, meditation is the heart of my spiritual practice, and it is non-negotiable in my life. So now I have to confess, I have a husband that is in town, and he brings me a latte every morning, so it makes the getting up a little easier. Although he travels a lot, so sometimes I'm on my own. But this morning, even though I didn't feel like it, it was my calling, it was my commitment, it was my dedication, because I know that I didn't want to come to my day halfway connected. I want to under-promise and over-deliver. I want to under-promise all of you and over-deliver to all of you. I want to under-promise to my son and over-deliver. Meditation had me get up this morning. Now, again, disclaimer, if you are a recovering perfectionist, and I know a few of you watching are, thank you for sending light and love to Goody Melina. Thank you. I appreciate that. And for those of you recovering perfectionists, which I will claim myself to be one, non-negotiable does not mean get up and meditate when your body is really calling for more rest. So I don't want this to be misunderstood. Non-negotiable. Hi, Anne. Welcome. Anne Pogue is joining us. Excuse me. So non-negotiable, the part that is non-negotiable is my connection to my intuition. Non-negotiable is checking in with my intuition so that I don't allow the feeling of, oh, I don't feel like going today, allow me to get off track. Because if an Olympic athlete did this, they would not be able to show up to the Olympics. Yes. So again, let's just take a deep breath. Everybody breathe, take a nice deep breath. We want to allow all that we've shared so far to land upon us. For those of you just joining us, I'm Susie Lula. I'm a spiritual counselor, soon to be author of The Motherhood Evolution, on a mission to change the face of motherhood and on a mission to gather a self-care tribe of which you are all a part, because I know that if you're watching, there's a place inside of you that is waking up to the power and the potency of self-care to change your lives. I know I'm having an interaction with a dear person that I work with who is learning that taking care of herself is assisting her children, and then is circling around to back to her work. So I got distracted a moment ago because I see Vibha is saying, great question, Jessica, and I'm missing the question. It had already passed. So Jessica, if you want to ask again, I will be happy to answer it. I love your questions. And Melina, how can I deal with abandonment issues? This is the precise question to ask. Brilliant question, because this is the sister quality. It's the shadow quality to non-negotiable. It's the shadow quality. We can't be non-negotiable when we're abandoning ourselves. So we're learning to be present for ourselves. So that is a great question. Oh, question, how does one know the difference between intuition and fear? Another brilliant question. So we'll just work with those two. I'm going to start because I had started with the question about self-abandonment, non-negotiable. Self-abandonment, being present for our commitments, our word. This is the reason I'm so passionate about self-care. When we begin to take care of ourselves, we start to send a message to ourselves that says, I matter, I am important, I am valuable. And people who know their worth, people who are connected to their value, those individuals are present for themselves. Those individuals are not abandoning themselves. So at the beginning, you might find, if you have had a habit of self-abandonment, this is we can do a whole hour just on self-abandonment, because our culture is saying to us, don't take care of yourself. Our culture is saying, do more, be less, stay in fear, stay in lack, stay in limitation. Tell yourself you don't have enough time to work out. Tell yourself you don't have enough time. So self-abandonment is often part of an initial practice. It's a density. It's a density that we have to move through. This is one of the main reasons I love joining together in collective community. Because we're all together here right now, this energy might assist one of you to take an action this afternoon where, had you not been on this, watching this recording, you might have succumbed to lethargy and abandon yourself, or succumb to one of the beliefs that we are barraged with from culture that says it's selfish to take care of ourselves, or I have to put myself last on the list. You know, so we want to join together in collective community. And you want to understand that when we abandon ourselves, because every one of us abandons ourselves in moments. And this is why I wanted to speak today about how to get back up from the stumble. Self-abandonment is a stumble. So it isn't that an Olympic athlete stumbles. It isn't that I stumble as a mother. It isn't that I don't abandon myself as a mother. What is crucial is that I embrace my stumbles with self-compassion. So Melina, when you are aware that you might have a habit or a pattern of self-abandonment, that is the very place that needs your compassion the most. And when we're going to all do this practice right now, when we do this, you're going to feel that abandonment subside, and you're going to feel your spirit's presence being evoked, right? And crying tears are so purifying. Again, we're taught in this culture, don't cry. Tears connect us. So yes, 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 for those of you writing about that, you're crying, because I get these emails all week that these recordings are bringing up in all of us the tears. The tears are cleansing. The tears are connective. This is important. So let's practice with this question of self-abandonment. I want us to gently close our eyes and just think of a moment when you might have abandoned yourself. It could have been the tiniest moment. Perhaps you wanted to call a friend yesterday and you felt that nudge and you didn't follow through. It could be tiny. It doesn't need to be something big, just something tiny, something real. And when you just gently close your eyes, and call forward, oh, I see. I abandoned myself yesterday. I felt that intuitive nudge to hug my child, to call a friend, to care for my own self, and I ignored it. Or I allowed culture, society to tell me I had no time. I need to put my child first. I will be selfish if I take care of this prompting inside. And I want you to just gently utter the phrase to yourself, it's understandable, given all that society barrages us with, given all that we have on our to-do plate, it's understandable that from time to time we abandon ourselves. So you'll say that to yourself, it's understandable that I sometimes abandon myself. Just gently breathe into this. We're not saying that as a way of condoning our behavior. We're saying it's understandable as a way of connecting to our behavior. Because if we don't connect to self-abandonment, we will never reconnect with our spirit. If we keep self-abandonment at bay, we'll put it in a closet, it will stay a shadow. It will stay in the closet, we will stay disconnected from it, and it will overpower us. So we want to do the opposite. We want to embrace right now any times and places that we abandon ourselves with compassion and say, yes, it's understandable that I abandoned myself. And now I'm going to weave in Jessica's question into this. Just gently keep your eyes closed. And ask for a prompting inside. What is it that I need in order to stay present for myself? What is it that I need in order to let go of this pattern of self-abandonment? What is it that my spirit's calling for? What is it that my heart, what is it that my life is calling for? And simply listen for right now. Just listen. Now, Jessica's question was how to discern the difference between fear and intuition. And in this moment, this is brilliant because when we feel that we're abandoning ourselves, there's usually fear present. When fear or lack, I actually consider lack to be one of the most, it's a quality that is sometimes even underlying fear. Because when we think there isn't enough, then we get fearful. But when we know that there is more than enough, and when we know that I am more than enough, there's nothing to be fearful about. So I often say the difference between lack and intuition, but fear and intuition. So what is being called for from within me? You'll know it's intuition when you are perfectly and utterly at peace, where there is no attachment and no expectation. You are open, you are receptive to any possibility, any way it looks. You're open, you're spacious. It's no attachment. You don't need it to look a certain way. When we're in lack or fear, subtle as it is, there's always an agenda. There's always, it could be subtle, subtle, subtle. Oh, I wish my son would wear those shoes instead of the other ones. It's subtle, subtle, subtle. Agenda, attachment, fear, lack. Openness, no expectation, no attachment, intuition. Whenever you're ready, if you haven't already, gently open your eyes, and whatever is calling for you, you can gently write it in your journal. And then anyone who had asked a question, you can just answer right now. Did I answer your question? Do you have a follow-up question? And there was one other point that I wanted to, or example that I wanted to speak of today. So let's just take a deep breath. We'll do one more before we close. Take a nice deep breath in. You might even exhale with a sigh. Deep breath in, exhale with a sigh. So we're speaking this morning, Olympics, the spiritual Olympics. Our Olympic sport is our connection with our children. Our Olympic practice and tools, meditation, self-awareness, intention, inner care. And today so far we've practiced with stumbling and how to most graciously, gracefully, and effectively get ourselves back up. And we use the examples of self-abandonment and fear, how to discern fear and intuition. And we recognize we want to become present. We want to embrace our stumbles rather than pushing them away. And we want to embrace them with compassion. So the great thing about these recordings is that you can go back during the week. You can find the very place that we were practicing with our eyes closed, and you can practice it again over and over and over again, because this is something, even when you've been practicing this for 20 years, the great thing is the tools remain the same. Self-compassion is always the go-to tool. So you can practice it over and over and over again this week, which is wonderful, because then you can press pause on the recording and give yourself some space to really learn to be quiet with the uncomfortable places within us. And the questions are sort of going by a little too quickly for me. It's my learning curve, but I'm noticing many comments about tears. And so this is letting me know we're going to work with this maybe next week, the week after, because tears are so undervalued in our country, and there's a way that we can really work with them to use them as transformational tools. But I will go back and answer all your questions, and I will comment so everybody can come back during the week and you can read the comments too, and then it's going to assist us to grow throughout the week. So before we go on to this last example that I wanted to share, I just wanted to say that I'm Susie Lula, and spiritual counselor, soon to be author, and soon to be published author. So I want to share with you all a real example that someone emailed me this week. And again, I so appreciate all of your emails. They're really helpful, both in sharing with me what's important to you so I can create themes that are meaningful and valuable, but also to answer questions, which I will continue to do. So yes, I just said tears are undervalued. Tears as tools to grow. So I had many emails this week, and one of them jumped out at me. A woman was asking how to navigate when one individual is really committed to self-care and the partner, the other parent, is not. So this is a question I get often. Sometimes one of us is committed and the other not so much. So if I could leave you with one tool, let's say, it is the Olympic tool, right? The Olympic transformational tool is the art of learning how to own our projections. So we're always projecting onto others, always, always. When I'm peaceful inside, I'm projecting peace. When I'm disconnected inside, I'm projecting disconnection. So the important part of her question, what to do when I might be practicing self-care but my partner is not, the important question is not to look at that we're in two different places. The important question to ask is, what emotions am I experiencing because my partner is not caring for themselves? Because if I'm peaceful about that and I'm trusting and I'm seeing, oh, it's okay, everyone has their own journey, this is for me, then it's not going to bother you. But of course, because she asked the question, we know it is bothering her. And she did go on to say she's very disturbed by the way her partner treats their children. So this is a real issue. And though the place to begin is always with our own heart, our own consciousness, our own spirit. What is it specifically that is disturbing? Because if I lined 3 different individuals up and each one of them said, I'm so disturbed because I take care of myself, but my partner does not, specifically what is disturbing to each one of those 3 individuals is going to be different. And that is the brilliance of doing this work, because my work for emotional self-care is to ask what it is in me that is disturbed. So that's the first question. What is disturbed in me? And then how is this reflecting a way that I am with myself? So even though the other individual is triggering us, remember, as we say, our triggers are our teachers. So your partner isn't taking care of themselves. How is that triggering to you? And when you find what is triggering inside of you, that is when you embrace that with compassion. So it is not to say that you might not go back out and have boundaries in your life